Greetings. This is TimeRider at Chapter 4. What you're looking at here is a Matchbox number 53 Mercedes-Benz 220 SE. This Mercedes was produced in the real world from 1961 until 1965 and was reproduced by Lesney from 1963 until 1967. It came with both gray and black wheels and was originally released in maroon, but it was later changed to dark red. It's not particularly rare or difficult to find, with the exception of a maroon variant with black wheels. It was one, if not the, first Matchbox to have opening doors. This is mine, and is typical. I purchased it with a lot of castings, and this one wound up costing me $2.17. I am doing a straight-up restoration on this model, and I hope you enjoy. You can see it's fairly chipped up, and it's in need of some attention. One of the things I did notice that is different from later castings is that the doors are not held in by a spring. They're just held into a channel created between the outside of the casting and the interior of the car. And I think it makes the doors sometimes not sit quite right, as is the case with this model. But anyway, let's get on with it. There seemed to be concern for my fingers, because I know sometimes I tend to use them to hold the model from the bottom. And I'm going to try to not do that quite so much. I've never injured my finger, but, well, you never know. So here, a little bit of a drop of oil. I almost put my finger under it there, and then I came up with my new plan, of course, which is to put an old paint bottle under it. You know, I've had a couple people ask me why I don't just allow the hardened screws to tap the hole. And the reason is because I found that by doing that, sometimes the screw inadvertently strips out the hole, and sometimes the tool strips out the screw head because it's very small. So I found that even though it's a hardened screw, the best way to go about it is to tap out the hole and then put the button screw in after that. And now a little bit of stripper followed by a wash 'em up. The paint actually came off fairly easily. This will be probably the last time you'll see me use citrus stripper in the aerosol can. I went out and bought a bottle of the gel, and I've actually used it on a couple of things, and I like it a lot better. But anyway, once the paint was off, it was time to move on to some other things. And so here I am using a soft wire brush to clean out the fine details of this casting. I'm always amazed at how well these things are cast, and I always had an image of some guy sitting there with his tools and wearing a pair of magnifying glasses, creating the mold that they're using for this. And that's actually not how it's done, and I'm a pretty smart guy. I probably should have figured that part out. So I'm going to show you a small clip of a video from Lesney, and I have a link below for the whole video for those of you who'd like to watch. It's actually pretty interesting. So as you can see, the actual model is quite large, and I don't know if it's made out of wood or clay or some type of polymer, but then they have this like mechanical reducer, and they use the large model to make the die of the small model. And then of course once they're done, they take the mold and put it into a fixture, and then they put the fixture into an apparatus where they can scoop up the metal and pour it into the mold and create the small castings. It's really an interesting video. Like I said, I'll put a link to it. I suggest watching if you like Matchbox at all. So, back to my project here. I noticed, as I usually do, I look at it when I get the paint off. The two A-pillars were not quite straight, and there was a little part underneath the door that looked like it was bowed out just a little bit. And then when I looked at it from the back, it looked as if the right side of the roof was a little bit lower than the left side, probably having to do with that bent A-pillar as well. It looked like the whole roof was kind of moved a little bit to the left. So there was some straightening that needed to be done, but it wasn't anything major. In fact, I was able to accomplish it just using my thumb to kind of push the A-pillars until I felt that they were straight. And the little section under the door was just a matter of giving the car a little bit of a squeeze. And it looks pretty straight now. So we can move on, huh? And so now a coat of Tamiya light gray. I think I need another set of helping hands, or somehow maybe put another extension. You know, holding the doors like that in one single clip, it worked, but once in a while I do that and something falls out. Be kind of nice if my helping hands had 3 hands, but I don't know. I'll figure it out. Now, something I should add here is that I was doing this kind of concurrent to painting the 55B, and I was having nothing but fits with my air gun, or my airbrush rather, and I wound up painting this car a total of 3 times because I wasn't getting a finish that I was happy with. And I finally wound up thinking, well, I'm going to shoot enamel because I'm trying to figure out if the problem is my airbrush, the way I'm mixing paint. But, you know, the thing is I've had so many projects where the paint was just perfect and I'm not doing anything different. And I think the problem is actually the airbrush. It's a cheap airbrush, and it's starting to sputter, and I don't know why. So what I am doing is I actually ordered a new airbrush, and hopefully that will resolve a lot of my problems. If I fiddle with it enough, I can get it to work, but it's just gone from something that was actually a very easy part of every process that I've done to one that I have to fiddle with. You know, fortunately, there isn't a lot to this particular casting. I painted the details on, and I honestly thought that I had my camera recording at the time, but apparently I didn't. So anyway, the enamel still wound up with a little bit of a rough surface to it. It wasn't as bad as the acrylics have been. So I decided as a clear coat, I was just going to use the acrylic floor wax, which I've used before with actually pretty good results. So here I am putting that on. And it actually has a really nice shine to it, and I like using it a lot, and I have a big bottle of it, so I probably ought to use it more. It's not terribly expensive, and I've typically had really good results with it. So here's a peek back at where we started. You know, a fairly chipped up model. You know, I really like this body style. I think it's very iconic, I guess would be the word when it comes to the Mercedes line of cars. And I know that they used it for a very, very long time. Assembly was fairly straightforward. I didn't do anything with the base at all because I didn't think it was that bad, and I'm kind of with David Hyde on this to some degree, that leaving the patina of play on the base of the model, since you can't see it anyway, isn't always such a bad thing. And so that's what I did on this one. I touched up the axles with a little bit of chrome paint, but that was really about it. So let's see where we wound up. So here we are. The Matchbox 53B Mercedes-Benz 220 SE. I think I might have missed my paint mark just a little bit, but I do like the color that it finally wound up being. And anyway, thanks for watching. This is TimeRider at Chapter 4, and I'll leave the light on for you. Please share, please subscribe, and hey, watch that Lesney video that I have the link to in the description. It's really a very, very good video, and everybody says I should put links at the end of my videos here, and one of these days I'll figure out how to do it. Y'all have a nice day now, you hear?